So hey there, my name is Akshay and welcome back to Geeks for Geeks. So in a previous video, I've gave you the brief introduction to MySQL, or you can say the SQL. We're gonna learn about MySQL in further videos because this course is all about MySQL. Okay, so basically the queries in all those SQL softwares are pretty same, and when you look at it after learning all these things, so it's very easy for you to shift from one software to another software after learning these queries. So basically you just have to grasp the concept. Okay, now I've already gave you a brief introduction in the previous video. So in this video we will be installing the software that is needed to run all these commands in SQL. Okay, so currently I'm gonna use MySQL command line, and for that you need to go to the link in the description. So this is the link which will be given in the description, and you just have to copy this link and open any of your browsers, go to search, and you just have to paste that link and press enter. So yeah, this will be the setup and you just have to download this. Now, as soon as you click on download, it's gonna start your download. Even without using your Gmail account, you can directly download the file. So yeah, this will be your page and you just have to click on download anyway. This file does not contain any of the viruses that is being showed over here, that this is an executable file and it may harm your computer. So it does not have any of your viruses, and as soon as the download completes, you just have to open the setup. So let me show you. Okay, so the file is over here, and yeah, this will be your setup. You just have to open it. It will look like this, and then you have to click on next, and just like we installed games previously, everyone must have done that, okay, at some point in their life. So after that you just have to click on yes. Prompt will open. Then after that, this particular setup will open, and you just have to go next and next, and you can click on make sure that MySQL configuration wizard wala that checkbox is always checked. And after that, a pop-up will again say that you have to press yes or no. Okay, so after that, this window will open. MySQL instance configuration wizard. You just have to click on next, make sure it's detailed and developer machine, then click on next and next and next. And the installation path, you can modify it according to your will, but I'm just gonna use this one only. So I'll go next and then next. Then you can check this port number that it is 3306 or not. If it's not, you have to change it to 3306. Then you have to press next and next. You can select the font style like this. Okay, I'm just gonna go by default character set. Then you just have to okay, so launch the MySQL server automatically. Make sure these checkbox are like this only. Okay, then you can also include the file directory in Windows path that is needed for further accessibility of MySQL using your computer. Then you must have to check this box. Okay, then go next and you can enter the password. So for the password, I'm gonna use root because it is a standard password. You can use anything according to your choice. Okay, then after that you have to press next and you have to execute. So after executing, first two things will be checked, and the start services is also being checked. So if you have any trouble regarding these settings, you can always troubleshoot using YouTube videos and everything. So after that, you can simply open your Windows and write MySQL command line. So as soon as you write this thing will open and you just have to open this. Okay. So it will open up like this and you have to write the password. So for the password, I'm going to write ROOT, that is root. Okay. So now this command line prompt is opened and all of our queries, all of the SQL we will be doing this inside this MySQL command line client. Okay, I can increase the font size too, so that it will be easier for you to see. So yeah, it must be visible to all of you. Now let us have a look at some of the commands of SQL that we were talking about in the previous video. Okay, so I'm gonna start with creating a database. So for creating a database, you have to write the command like create database name. So for the database name, I'm gonna use student, or I can say GFG. Okay, so this will be our SQL statement, and in the end you have to include a semicolon, and as soon as you press enter, a database is created. Now how can you view this database that it is being created or not? So for that you can use show databases. So if you run this query, all of the databases will be available over here. Okay, so currently we have only 5 databases over here, but if the number increases and you have multiple databases, so you can't there's a thing that you can't create multiple databases with the same name. So if I try to create database GFG again, it will show an error just like this. Okay, so it already exists, that's why it's not being able to create. So yeah, that's that's how you create databases, and that's how you show the databases. Now if you want to use that database and you want to create multiple tables inside that database, so for that you can use command use, and after that use you just have to write the name of database like GFG. So as soon as I've written this query and I press enter, the database is being used. Okay, so yeah, this is how you use the database. Now there is another command which you can use to delete these databases. So deleting the database is also an important thing that you may require in uh, your journey through this SQL. Okay, so for that you can use drop command, drop then database name like GFG. Okay, so for drop command you also have to write database, then you have to write the database name. So after using this command, we can delete the this particular database, that is GFG. Now you may be wondering that I've written GFG in capitals over here. Okay, so at this place it is not case sensitive. Okay, so even if you provide the names in capital letters, it's gonna take them into smaller ones, or the both the smaller and capital letters are treated equally. So yeah, it might create a problem for you, like you want to create a database like GFG, and after that you are trying to create something like this. Okay, like this. So it will also not uh, this query will also not create a new database, because both the capital G and small g are treated equally. So let me tell you how to delete the database after the running this query. So as soon as you write drop database and database name and you press enter, that database will be deleted. Now let us try to show these databases by using show databases command. So after using this command, you can see that the GFG database is already been deleted. So yeah, that's pretty simple, and I've told you about some queries like creating a database. Now you know how to create a database, how you can use that database, how you can delete that database, and how you can show all the databases so that the name redundancy part is not difficult for you. Okay, so the next thing that you're gonna need is how to backup the database. So for creating a backup of a database, you can use this command. Okay, so for creating a backup, you can use backup database. Then you have to write the database name. Like first, let me create the GFG database again. Okay, so this query will create a database. Then I'm gonna create a backup of this database. For that, backup database GFG. Just a minute. Okay. So after that, you need to write to disk. Then you have to specify the path. Like for the path, I'm gonna use just a minute. Okay. So for the path, you have to write it like this. For whatever drive you are using, you have to give the drive name. Then you have to provide the colon. Just a minute. Okay. So after colon, you have to use forward slash. Then after that, you have to write the folder name. So let's say I don't want to create the database backup inside any of the folders. I just want it to be directly inside that D drive. So at the end, I will have to write back. Okay, just a minute. GFG. That's the name of our database, and .dak. This will be the extension of your file, and at the end you have to close the inverted commas and you have to put a semicolon. So after running this command, you will have the backup will be created. Okay. So I think there's a problem in the syntax, and SQL command line does not support this, but in the other SQL softwares, this command will run, so you can note it down somewhere and you can use it. It's you don't usually use these commands in places like this, but yeah, it's one of the commands and it's important, so you must write it down at something. So let's leave it so we can move forward in how to create a table. I'm gonna show it to you later how you can create a backup in when we are exploring some other software. Okay. So in this course only, I'll show it to you. Let me show you how to create tables. Okay. So let me first use GFG database for creating the table. So I've changed the database to GFG. Then I have to create a table. So for creating a table, there's a basic syntax over here. Let me write it down. Okay. So for creating a table, you can use create table. Okay, just let me write it down in capitals. Create table name. Okay. So you have to write create table name, then you have to open brackets like this, and after that you have to give column name, then columns data type. I'll just show you what these data types are. Let me first write down the basic syntax of creating a table. Then you have column 2 over here, its data type, and just like this you can create multiple columns, and at the end you have to close the bracket and put a semicolon at the end. Okay, so this command will show an error because it's just a syntax of creating a table, but after showing you what these data types are, I'm gonna explain you how to create a table. I'm gonna show you how to create a table. So let me press enter so that it may show the error. As expected, it shows an error. Okay, so this data type is nothing, but you must have learned about this if you have learned any other programming languages. So, okay, so the column parameters specify the name of the column of the table. Okay, so these are the parameters, like these data types, and the data type parameter specifies the type of data that column can hold. Like there are different types of data, like you have characters, you have numbers, you have dates, and you also have Boolean. So all these things are really important, and for you to create a table which is very efficient, you can create the table with correct data type, so that whenever you are trying to access the data from that table, it will be very easy for you to manipulate the data. So let me tell you one by one what are these. data types. So I have a table over here. I'm just gonna drag it over here. Okay. So yeah, these are the different data types. See, first data type is character, and you have to give the size of the characters in brackets. Okay. So just like we have seen in SQL, we have just seen in the SQL, right? Like you have to write data type over here. So after this data type, you can put brackets and you can provide the size over here. Okay. So let me open the PPT again. So the character data type is used to store the characters. It has fixed length strings that can contain letters, numbers, and special characters. The size parameters specifies the column length in characters, and it can be from 0 to 225. So 225 is the limit of characters that you can provide in this data type. So yeah, so you can write 255 letters inside the columns whose data type is character, that is char, and you don't have to write the whole character over there. You just have to write char and put the size of the column inside this brackets. Okay, the next data type is varchar. Now varchar is variable length strings. These can contain letters, numbers, and special characters just like characters. Okay, and the size parameter specifies the maximum column length in characters, and the range of varchar is quite large as compared to the characters, and that's why we use varchar in the places in which you have to take input of long strings, and you have to take you have to store a really large amount of data. So yeah, you can use varchar over there, and inside the size part you can provide any of the size between 0 to 65535. Okay, so yeah, both of these things we are going to use in throughout this course. And the next data type is Boolean. Now, what is Boolean? You must have heard about it. So in the school, there are questions like true and false, right? So that's basically Boolean. So Boolean will store true or false. So either the thing can be true or thing can be false. Now, in SQL, 0 is considered as false and non-zero values are considered as true. So whenever we are creating a database and we have to create a column over there, that data type is bool. So any value you provide in that particular column, if the value is 0, then it will be treated as false, and if the value is something else, some other number, so it will be treated as true. Then the next data type is integer. We all have learned about integers in mathematics. So in SQL, when you are providing the data type as integers and you are giving the size of that size, that is the limit of integers that you can use in that particular column. Okay, so for this integer data type, a medium integer signed range from this to this, unsigned range from 0 to this is used inside SQL. Okay, and the size parameter specifies the maximum display width, which is 255. Okay, so for using integers, you can provide the length of the integer between these values, either these values, or if you have given it unsigned, then you can only give the positive values. That is, the range will be doubled, but it will not accept the negative values. Okay, so the range is pretty simple, and if the integer is signed, then the range will be -2, and if it is unsigned, it can only take the positive values, and the maximum display width will be 255. That is the standard width. Okay, so yeah, we use integer in the places like you can get the input of mobile numbers, or you can say the age of student, or you can say the salary of an employee. So all these columns data type will be integer, and you have to provide the size of that integer at the end like this in the size. Okay, then you can also use the float data type. Now what is float? Floating are the floating point number. The total number of digit is specified in size, and the number of digit after the decimal point is specified in d parameters. Okay, so what is float? Basically the decimal values are written in are the columns in which we want the values to be of the type of decimals. We use those inputs, we use the data type float over there. And you can, after creating a float type column, you have to give the size of the float as well as the decimal values. Like you want to create percentage column, okay, and you have to get the decimal values until 3 places. So you have to write 3 over here, and in the size you have to provide how much the range can be. Like for example, you just have to use percentage between 100, okay, so you can write 100 in the size over here, and you can write 2 decimal places over here. So the column will only take the numbers until 100. So the values which you will be giving later while inserting the row inside this table will be considered. Even if you provide multiple decimal places, like you have given 10 decimal numbers over there, it will round off that value and will only take up to 2 decimal places. So yeah, it's very useful, and float is used to take decimal values. Now, what is double? So double is basically a larger type of float, like just we have seen in the character and varchar too, right? So float is used for decimal values, and double is used for large decimal values. So the double can take multiple amounts of decimal values, longer decimal values as compared to float. So this data type is used when you have larger amount of data. Okay, then you can use date data type, which can whose format is like this, like year, month, and date. Then it can support the range from 1000 to 1999. Okay, then after that, the date and time is date also a data type, which is also used to take the date along with the time. So this is very useful when you are creating a database of like there is a library management tool and you have to create a database for that, and book is being returned on this date at this time. So date and time data type can be used over there. Okay, then you can also use time over here, which will only take the time. So yeah, you can use date, you can use date and time, you can also use time alone. Okay, then there is another data type, that is year. So yeah, you can use year also, and after using year you can give the year. And MySQL 8 does not support year in 2-digit format, but the previous version does support it. So keep that in mind when you are working on SQL. Okay, now all these things are done. Now let us have a look at how we can create a table. So for creating a table, this following example is given to you, but I'm not going to use this example as I will create a table live over here. Okay, so for that you can open the MySQL command line again. Then inside that command line, you just have to write this query. So as I've just explained you over here that you can use create command like this. So I'm just gonna create a table like create table student, and after that you have to give the column name like student number. Then you have to specify the data type. So for student number, what do we use? We use integer, right? So you can write int over here and provide the size like 5 over here. Then you have to put a comma and press enter. Then you have to write the name of the next column, that is s name. Then the data type of s name will be character, and the range, let us say it's 40. Okay, I'm only taking a rough estimate over here. You can specify it according to your needs. And after that, I am gonna put another thing over here, that is the address. Then address data type will be varchar. We are only trying these data types. It's not necessary for you to provide these specific values which I am providing over here. You can use any values which you want, and I'm also going to add one more column, that is city. Now city's data type will be character, and the range will be let's say 10. It can take up to 10 characters. Then after that you have to close the brackets and you have to put a semicolon over there. So we are already inside this GFG database, and now we are creating a table whose name is student, and the first column name is serial number, whose data type is integer and whose range is 5. Then we are creating another column that's name is sname, whose data type is character, and you are giving a value of 40 over here. That is the range of this particular sname column. Then we are getting address, that is Varchar, and whose range is 50. Then we are creating city. So as soon as you press enter, it's gonna create your table. Now let us have a look at how we can get the description of this table. Like the table is already created. Now let us look how we can know that this table is created. So for that you can use show tables command. So write show tables, and here it is, the student table that is given that we just created. And for viewing the structure of this table, we can use the desc command. So for that, desc student. Okay, so let me run this command. So after running this, this will be the output of our query, and it will represent everything that we just gave while creating the table. So just like this, the serial number column is created, its range is 5, the data type is integer, and sname column was also created, whose data type is character and whose value is 40. Then all these things, that null, key, default, and extra, we'll learn about it in further videos. In this video, I just wanted to show you how to create a table. So yeah, you can do that. Okay, then there is another command which you can use. You can use to create a new table using a specific table. So just like we have created a student table over here, I'm going to create another table which will have the columns from this table. Okay, so for that you can use create table, let's say fees. Okay, then in this fees, I'm just gonna take serial number and student name. Okay, so after that you have to use as, then you have to write select, then after that you have to give the column name. So I'm gonna give SNO and SName. Okay, from student. I'll put a semicolon at the end, and as soon as I run this query, a copy of that table will be created so that we can use these similar things in another table. Okay, so we just created another table whose name is fees, which have only serial number and student name over here from this student table. So let me show you the description of this new table using the desc command. So we can use desc fees and semicolon. So as you can see, the desc command is also working over here, and we are showing the description of fees over here. So yeah, this new table is created, and the data type of all these two columns which we inherited from this student table are given over here. So this is also very useful when we are creating multiple tables inside the database. Okay, so the next command will be how we can delete these tables. So for that you can use drop table command. Okay, so for drop table command you can use drop table, then you have to specify the table name. So I'm gonna delete this fees table. Okay, so I have written drop table fees, then at the end I'll put a semicolon and press enter. So now if I show tables, so as you can see, the fees table is already deleted. I have made a copy over here of this student table using create table fees as. Okay, then after that I have shown you the description of this fees table, that it was created, and after that we have deleted the fees table, and it is not visible over here using the show tables command. Now there is another command which is very useful, but it will be useful for you in the further videos. because now we have not inserted any values inside these tables. But in further videos, we are going to learn how to insert values inside these tables. So we are going to learn how to delete all those records at once. So for that, you can use Truncate command. So I'm just showing you an example. It's not going to do anything because there are no values inside this table. So Truncate table, then I have to give the table name. So I'll give student over here. Okay. So as soon as I write this command and press semicolon, all of the records inside this particular table will be deleted. Okay. So I'm just gonna press enter over here. So as you can see, 0 rows are affected because this table was already entered empty and it does not had any of the records inside that table. Okay. So yeah, I think this is enough for this video, and I've shown you multiple commands. Let's take a quick revision of what we have learned in this video. I've shown you how to create a databases, how to show all the databases in your system. Then I have shown you how to use a database, how to delete a database using drop database command. Okay. Then after that, I have shown you how to create a backup of this database, although this command was not running on this command line prompt, but you can use it later when we are working on other IDEs or other softwares. It's gonna work on those. Okay. Then I've shown you how to create a table. So this was the basic syntax of how to create a table. Then after that, we were creating a table of student whose name was student, and we created columns, 4 columns: serial number, student name, address, and city. And we provided those data types like integer, character, varchar, and char. I have also explained you different kinds of data types in through this PPT, and I'll also provide a link to that PPT in the description so that you may learn about all these data types, or you can simply Google them. It is very easy for you to find those things online. Okay. Then after that, I've shown you how to show the tables so that you may know what tables are created in your database, or you can't create multiple tables of the same names. That you must remember this. Okay. Then I've shown you how to show the description of a table, that is the data type or the size of the columns that we were providing when we are creating the table. Okay. So for after using this desc command, you can show the description of that table, and after that you can use create table as command to create a copy of that table, in which you can only select a particular amount of columns. And you can also provide where condition in this, which we will learn later, and we are going to use it to create a table with some specific rows too. Okay, so now we were only selecting the columns, right? So we can also create more specific data. We can only get the specific data inside another table which we are creating a copy of. Okay, so we will use that in further videos, and I have shown you that this table was successfully created, and the data type of all these columns which we were copying from the previous table are inherited in this table. Okay, then I've shown you how to delete the tables. For deleting the table, we used the drop table command, and the syntax was drop table name. And at the end, we also learned about one more command that is not currently being used, but in further videos when you insert rows, after that you can delete all the records at once using the truncate table command. Okay, so I think this must be it for this video, and I hope you liked this video. And link for the setup of MySQL command line will be given in the description, or you can simply search for MySQL command line 5.5, the version which I am using, or you can use the newer versions too. The problem is if you download the latest version of SQL, MySQL, that's gonna take a lot of space inside your PC. And as this is an older version, it is very easy for you to use it on any of the machines. Even if it is a very low spec machine, you can use it on that. So you should install this software, and you can run these queries inside the software. So yeah, that's it for this video, guys. See you in the next one. Bye bye.